Welcome to another Bitter Butter Render Blender tutorial. So this is a lineup from a previous tutorial where I showed you how to properly UV unwrap a sphere in Blender. And in this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to add detail to image textures. So usually if you get a texture from websites such as HDRI Haven or Polygon, they come as a pack, meaning they come with maps such as the bump map, the roughness map, and all of those maps which determine the detail for the sphere or the mesh that you've chosen. But since this is an image texture that I got from Google, it's not going to have that. It's just going to have the color file, which determines the color only. So here's a quick trick to add detail to the images. So first, I'll just walk you through what I'm going to do. We're going to take the black values, such as these black outlines. We're going to add depth to them, so we're going to bring it down. And then we're going to make the white values a little rougher. And then we're going to make the orange values a little more metallic, and the gray values and the other values are in between them both. After that, and optional stuff if you want to do it, if you want to add grunge, so the dirt on these textures, I'll show you a method to combine both of them together. So first, let's add the black values depth. And to do that, we can obviously open up an image texture like I already did. I'll put that in the description below. Open up a image texture node, open the image in it. And then we can click Shift A, image, and we can plug in bump, add a bump node. And obviously plug the normal into the normal value and the color value into the height. And just like that, straight out of the bat, you can see that the black values have been lowered down. And you can mess with the strength depending on your choice. And right now it looks really jagged. And there's a fix to that, but that's getting a higher res image. And I couldn't find a high res image of this, so I just left it out like that. But if you do get a higher res image for your image texture, make sure to choose that, because it'll save you from having these jagged lines. Okay, so now we're going to get the roughness values right. So we're going to plug the color into the roughness, just like that, and wait for Blender to load. And you can see that it's determined the roughness. But we need to tell Blender what parts to be rougher and what parts need to be less rough. So we can easily do that by adding a color ramp. Just like that. Let me just bring the bump node back down, just like that, and we're just gonna crunch in the values of the color ramp until you get what you like. So right now I'm just gonna crunch in these values until here, and you can see that now if I just shade smooth this real quick, you can see that the orange parts are now more metallic and the white parts are more rough. And if you want it to be swapped around, as in you want the white parts to be more metallic and the orange parts to be more rougher, you can obviously just swap these markers around. But I'm gonna keep them like this, so I'm just gonna have the value of that. That'll give you a really good texture to it. But now let's get on to the optional part, which is adding the grunge. So you can do this if you want it or if you don't. But if we're gonna add the grunge, you're gonna want to open up the image texture first into a software such as Photoshop, and use the brush from a website or something, such as the dirt brush or something like that. Import it in and then paint it over the texture. Yeah. So here's a quick tip. I already did that, so I imported it into Photoshop and I did all that. So first we're gonna open up the image texture and we're gonna plug in the color into the base color. And then if we open up the image with the grunge, so we're going to open up the image with the grunge now. And there we go. We've gotten the grunge, the dirt. But you can leave it like this if you want, but there's a quick tip to make it look better. And that's by dragging out this image texture on the bottom, somewhere around there. And we're going to add another bump texture. And we're going to plug in this normal value into this normal. And we're going to plug in the color into the height. And it's going to look really bumpy and gross. So we're just going to tune down the strength. And I did a little bit of testing and I found 0.01 looked really nice. And that just adds a little bump to the grunge areas. You can obviously go higher if you want, but I don't recommend going too high, because then it makes it look really weird like that. So I'm gonna go with 0.01, but let me try it 0.1. 0.1 looks okay, but over here it looks a little crunchy, so I'm just gonna add a value of 0.01. I think it's a subtle value, looks nice. That's it for today's tutorial. You can see that with a really simple step, you can easily add realism to textures. And this is a really good method on really any image texture you want. And that's it for today's tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.